This is Into the Forest, and my plan is to take a 30-year-old boat and make it seaworthy again.
This is a 1983 Seox 200, which is a 20-foot Seox. And this is how it currently sits. I don't have any video of the teardown and the transom being redone because I didn't do that. I actually bought this boat as is with everything. I'll show you a picture here. The chairs, the bow rail, all the hardware, center console, pole holders, any teak wood that's included in here. I got all of that just as it sits and as you saw in that picture. This gives you a slightly better perspective of how the boat is right now. But to give you a better perspective, it appeared to be a two-piece boat. You can see that you have the gunnel cap, you have what's going to be the floor right here, and then you're going to have the hull. That would make it a three-piece boat. However, this used to have the liner. This was like the top-end Seox 200 from 1983, I guess. It had teak wood right here, had two rod holders in each. This is a teak wood anchor locker. I still have the door for that, and I'm considering refinishing the teak wood there. There's a slight platform that came up right around here. I assume it had fish boxes and other storage and whatnot. And then you had our center console, which the center console is really wide, which is why I may consider rebuilding it. Plus it's not in the best of shape. However, that is unlike the gas tank that was in here. I think it's an 86-gallon aluminum gas tank, and that thing is solid. I still need to get it pressurized to make sure it's all good to go, but from just looking at it, it looks brand new. Now that you know what it used to look like, let me show you how I would like for it to look. Up here, I'm going to keep it exactly how it is. May have to clean up some of these edges right around here. And I really thought I was going to switch up the anchor locker access to be on top. However, I like the way this looks, and I'm not completely sure how I would go about the looks if I were to convert the hatch from down here to up here. And instead of just having a single platform right here, where you would just have, you know, the whole entire platform, storage, and then it drops off right here before you get to the center console seat, I would like to have something like they're basically like kind of like a V shaped. So that'll be the anchor locker there. Then there's going to be right under here one fish box that goes right here, and then another fish box that goes right here. And also, when I make that, I'm going to have to make sure, because I've seen boats that actually they don't take this into consideration, that there's enough room to walk between the fish box and between the center console seat. I want to be able to step right through. I don't want to have to step over anything. Now you're about 2 feet away from the anchor locker, just in between where those two fish boxes would be. Mind you, those fish boxes are also going to have cushions, so we could use them as seats as well. But right here, underneath the fuel tank, because the fuel fill, this is probably out of frame right here, but the fuel fill is right here, so that's going to come right here. Above the deck, center console seat. The front seat on the console, and I come back a little bit. This is the helm. So let's pretend we're walking around the center console right here, and this is going to be the helm. We're going to have steering wheel, trim tab controls, throttle, electronics, compass, everything that you would normally have in a helm. Also, it's going to be suited for a leaning post. What this currently came with, as you saw in the picture earlier, are 2 captain's chairs. I don't plan to keep that. I'm going to have a leaning post with some rod holders in there, and the current console would be much too short as well. I know I keep mentioning about the current console, but I'm going to have to make it taller than what the current console is, because I'm going to have to be able to operate it while standing up. On the sides, we have our 2 teak areas. I'm going to refinish that teak, put the rod holders back in there. We'll be good to go on that front. And then all the way in the back here, on this side, we're going to have a fish box, and on this side, we're going to have a seat. However, I need to figure out a way, and it very well may be that I'll keep the boxes and come right to the bottom of the gunnel cap, but I need to find a way for them to be symmetrical. I don't want this side being taller, giving more room for the fish box, while this side is shorter because it's a seat. It's small details that bother me, but that's what makes it. So I need to make sure that those are identical heights as well. And on that side is going to also hide and hold the rigging tube. So from the helm right here, the controls, all of that is going to go through a pipe down here, and it's going to be popping out right back there in that corner. And right back here between the seat and the live well, we're going to hang a 25-inch shaft, 150 horsepower to 200 horsepower motor. I don't really care which one. I've had great experiences with Yamaha, with Mercury, with Suzuki. I mean, anything that you buy new nowadays is typically pretty good. So I'm not too stressed. Whatever I can find for a good deal. Hopefully boat shows come back around this upcoming season so I can see if I can get a good deal on a brand new motor, as well as maybe on some controls to make my life a little bit easier. But for now, what I'm going to actually do today, get as much done as possible of this, is for the stringers that are already cut out, I'm going to see what I can do to grind out all of that fiberglass that was used to lay in the stringers. So basically any fiberglass that wasn't part of the original hull, I need to remove. What this is what they laid for the stringer. So you can see how it's right there. In all honesty, I may not take all of this out, but I do want to kind of just taper it off. I'm not sure how it'll go. This will be my first project ever. So I'm gonna see how it goes. I gotta get all this nice and clean. I'm gonna focus on actually the two side, the port and the starboard stringer first, because those are going to be the first two stringers I lay in here. And if you're wondering, the reason why that stringer and that stringer are still mostly there is to avoid any hull twist or any possible hull twist. So that's there for structural support. I'm going to grind all this down, put in the stringers, and then I'll grind all those out and put in those stringers. That is the plan anyway, so let me quit talking and get to work.
For those of y'all watching this because you want to do it yourselves, I'm going to leave the links to all the equipment I'm using right here in this frame down in the description below. And I want to go over exactly what I'm using. So I'm using a Hitachi grinder, corded grinder, as you can see, with the guard removed because it just kind of got in the way. I'm using a flat disc to grind it out. I believe it is 40 grit sandpaper, not 100% sure, but I think it's around there. And as for safety equipment, just a regular Tyvek suit because this is fiberglass dust that gets everywhere. Speaking of which, you don't want to breathe it in, so I'm wearing a 3M respirator. I'm wearing goggles. I put on a hat. Obviously, there's still a little bit of skin showing on my face, and obviously it's going to get in my hair. But I did my best to try to use painter's tape to hook on the Tyvek suit to my extra tufts and to my gardening gloves. But as you can see, it didn't really work out too well. But overall, I'm fairly protected, and it did the job.
Alright, I want to show y'all kind of what I did. As you can see, this is from before, right here. That's what it looked like. Very tall. And this, on the other hand, is what I grinded. Let me get out of the way. Look at that. See how it's nice and fairly smooth? Maybe there's some spots like over here. You can see that it looks like there's some dry fiberglass there, but I don't know. My camera's getting filthy. So I'm going to put it away, and I'll see y'all once I'm done. Y'all saw enough of the grinding already. Alright, I made it out alive. Not without a few casualties. This is my favorite hat. But I went in here knowing that this would kind of get messed up and everything. But that's how everything else looks. Imagine if this wasn't white, how that would look. And this, my friends, is what is after. So I did a little bit back there. I'll show you that in a sec, but you can see how I did the two stringers on either side. I did not touch the center stringer. So focused on these two stringers, as you can see. You saw what this looked like before. I mean, it looked basically like that. I got to grind it down all there, nice and tapered. It actually tapered a lot better than I thought it would. In most places, I thought everywhere I was going to taper kind of more like this, which in all honesty, I need to go back over and do that. But this is my first line right here. This is my first line. These are the chunks that came off when I was just that I cut off instead of just grinding them all to smithereens. I just cut them off, so made things a little bit easier. And this is my final line. And this one was a behemoth, but you can barely even see it. I can still kind of see it with the dust right there. But you can see how the stringer just goes down right there. And yeah. Like I said, there's obviously still a few parts. Like I could do some more grinding right there. I didn't see that until I vacuumed out all of the dust and debris. And actually, this chop strand bilge area, I got out most of the gnarly parts, but I don't understand. Like I don't understand why this looks like chunky without any fiberglass in it. And you can see it again over here. And also towards the front of the boat, actually right here, you can see that, like, what is that? If anyone knows, leave it down in the comments. I'd like to know what that is. There you go. There's a better look. But overall, I'm pretty happy with what I've done. It's been about 3 hours, 2.5 hours, one of the two. There is still a little bit of daylight out. However, I'm hungry, and well, that's basically it. I'm hungry, so I'm going home. And considering this is my first video, that means everyone is new here. Subscribe to the channel. Like this video if you liked it. I mean, if you made it all the way to the end, then you probably liked it at least a little bit, right? So give it a big thumbs up. That helps with the YouTube algorithm and whatnot. And I'll see you on the next one.